Hi, good afternoon. I'm here from the Hollywood Times, the senior editor, calling in from Palm Springs, California. But I'm also with aspiringmagazine.com, and I would love our guest to introduce himself. Thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Valerie. My name's Ian Hinden. I'm the director, musician, and interestingly enough, also the video game programmer of music video Would You Call Him a Bad Man? That's playing tonight at Dances with Films.
Yes, it is. It's tonight, June 27th at the Chinese Theater at 5 o'clock. And I look forward to having you be with me and answering some questions for me. Thank you so much, Ian.
Sure.
Um, I need to just put this on pause for a quick. Okay, yes, Ian, thank you again. I watched Would You Call Him a Bad Man? And I'll be
Yep.
honest, I found
Uh,
it a little hard to follow at first. Was that part of your intention to create something that asks the viewer to dig deeper or even feel a bit overwhelmed?
Yeah, I think so. I think a large part of the design and the inspiration behind Would You Call Him a Bad Man is video games. And in particular, there's a video game series that it draws a lot of inspiration from called WarioWare. And WarioWare is a game series where the player just gets tons of mini games and they just get faster and faster. And so I kind of like that idea that it's a story. It's going, for the game, whether you press buttons or not, the story keeps going. And I think that's kind of an important part of some of the themes of the story is just how out of control we get with some of our lives, right? Um, but I also feel like these days with AI and things like that, I almost feel that the purpose of being an artist is to just be as like loud and bombastic as we can possibly be while we still have this chance to make art, because I feel like if once that AI kind of like really grabs hold, there's a chance that we're not going to be able to make art in the same way at all or tell the same stories that we like to tell. And so, yeah, making it kind of loud and overwhelming like that, it's almost an attempt to say, well, I'm going to try to outrun the AI until it catches me because I know it's going to.
Boy, I am so glad I asked that question because that was a very interesting answer. And
Well, thank
yeah,
you.
Um, because there's a lot happening on screen: gameplay, music, characters, storylines. How do you expect the audience to take it all in? Do you want them to feel something
Mhm.
more than just understanding the plot?
Well, I think that it is definitely a product of the internet as a medium. And when I think of making content for the internet in particular, I think of the way that people interact with it these days is completely different than the experience they'd have if they're just watching something in a movie theater, right? And on the internet, when you're watching these videos, you have the chance to replay them and pause them. And, from a game perspective, people even download the code and they sift through the code and they take apart every little aspect of it to look for meaning. And so it's built with that in mind. It's kind of designed to be something that, I hope people will look at it and say, I got little bits of things here that I definitely connected with, but I'm not sure about the whole of what's happening. Maybe if I go through a discussion board or I see some people on YouTube talking about it and I become part of the discussion of what's going on, that'll connect deeper with people who want to get involved and want to see, like, okay, what is it that you're really talking about here? And it's sort of meant to be something that meets you as far as you're willing to go with it.
I got the sense that the emotional message was very important,
Mhm.
even if the story felt
Mhm.
abstract. Can you
Mhm.
talk more about the themes of trauma, control,
Mhm.
or exploitation in
Oh,
Ava's
sure.
journey?
Sure. So actually, the big inspirational moment that led to me making this project was I was back on Twitter a few years ago, and I was looking at a mutual aid thread. And these mutual aid threads are basically ways for people who they might need a little bit of financial assistance. Some other folks can help them out. It's a big like communal thing, right? And on this thread, I saw this woman who said that she needed a couple $100 or else she was going to get kicked out of her house, and she was looking for assistance for rent. And there was responses from men men that were saying like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're happy to help you out. We'd love to help you out if you do something for us because you're such a pretty young woman. And I just thought that, this is one place in particular that I thought at least would be like a safe space away from this kind of, exploitation and just trying to take advantage of people like that. And, that kind of struck me in a way. And so probably what I would call the thesis statement of the project is that scene, the character select, which is a very popular scene in a video game, and I think even, moviegoers are familiar with a character select scene, even if they're not video game players. But usually in a character select screen, you're almost faced with like a difficult choice because of how powerful all the characters are, and you don't know which one to choose, and they're impossibly more powerful than each other, right? Whereas, in a situation where somebody doesn't have choices, this is more likely what they're going to face. And there's a quote, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly where it comes from, but it comes to my mind a lot that says, you didn't make good choices, you had good choices. And so I feel like a lot of the world, when I look at it, I really want us to be helping each other more instead of putting people in positions where we can just exploit each other more.
Okay, well, because some viewers might see the chaos and satire and miss the emotional core. What
Mhm.
would you say to someone who doesn't get it on the first watch?
Well, I hope you'll watch again.
Of course, you'll say
Maybe,
that.
maybe you're not interested in doing that. That's true. And you're right. It's kind of difficult because I did want to strike this tone that's from the games.
Sure.
And I think in a lot of ways you can talk about these very difficult subjects, but do it in a way that has this kind of attitude to it. But I feel that a lot of times with something like this, I hope people will take the opportunity to notice, okay, this is more layered. And if I pause the screen and look at things and look for different things, and I'm noticing hidden things, or if I'm playing the game and there's other scenes that I unlock that get me to like the core of more things, in that scene that I had spoken about with the character select, there's actually a hidden character. It's a very common thing to have in video games, a hidden character. And the hidden character that you can unlock is a congresswoman who's based on AOC, right? And it's supposed to be this kind of like radicalization moment for you that, maybe if your initial reaction to this is one of like, okay, a lot of what I'm seeing is overwhelming me and making me upset. That to me is what a radicalization moment is. That's what it's like to kind of witness something like this and say, something about the world that I'm living in has to change, and I want to be involved in that.
Yeah, you said that you want to change the relationship people have with entertainment.
Hmm.
Um, and I see now what that looks like for you, especially for audiences who may not be used to interactive or mixed media storytelling.
Hmm.
So I find that really fascinating. And I am really glad that we had this discussion today about your film. And congratulations, it's at Dances with Films tonight
Hmm.
at 5 o'clock, if you want to call that night here in Los Angeles. But um, and so tell us, how can our readers and our viewers find out more about you and about your short film here? Social media or website or what?
Oh, sure. Well, thank you so much. Well, probably the best ways to find me are if you look on my social medias. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Blue Sky and YouTube as Ian Hinden. And you can also go to ianhinden.com because I'm a programmer and a web developer, so I set that up on my own as well. Right now, it'll redirect you to Would You Call Him a Bad Man? So it's a good time
Oh,
if you're just interested in checking out that project. And yeah, like you had said, a lot of the project might seem overwhelming, but I want people to be able to feel like they can have a connection with that and with me. So if they're confused or they want to reach out to me, I encourage them to do so, and I love to have a dialogue.
that's sweet. I love that. That's fantastic. And I am thanking you again for being with us today and explaining it all and sharing your film with us because I want to see it again and look at all those points that you just made. Our YouTube is the Hollywood Times official. Our website's the hollywoodtimes.today. And I thank you so much for your time on, I'm sure, this busy day where you're going to be there at the Chinese Theater shortly. So
Yep.
I won't keep you any longer, Ian, but what a pleasure to meet you virtually. And hopefully one day we can meet in person.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so
Okay.
much for sitting down with me.
Yeah, all right. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too.